Recently, these green-white decks have been doing pretty well in tournaments and on the ladder, so today I am going to be trying one of them out. They are, of course, +1/+1 Badgermole Cub Ouroboroid strategies, so nothing revolutionary, but they are solid decks. So we're going to see how this one actually plays and see if it's worth crafting or taking onto the ladder so that you can climb into Mythic. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the deck. So, of course, in the second column here, we have Llanowar Elves and Badgermole Cub. It's a green deck. We're going to be playing this. I know it's probably getting annoying to seeing Badgermole Cub, but we're playing decks that are mostly competitive. Most of you have probably crafted Badgermole Cub, and it's still not banned, so you may as well be playing it in your green decks. You're just handicapping yourself if you are not playing the Badgermole Cub. In the second column, we have our +1/+1 synergies, I suppose. Ambitious Augmenter seeing play in this deck. This is a new card from Secrets of Strixhaven. It is a pretty sweet one. It's a 1/1 for 1 Turtle Wizard. What a classification. And it has increment. Increment says whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana you spent to is greater than this creature's power or toughness, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Now, this is an on-cast ability, so if you do have the Ambitious Augmenter on the field, and then let's say you cast a Michelangelo, you will not be getting the benefit from Michelangelo's adding extra +1/+1 counters to that initial incremental ability, increment ability. Subsequent ones later on, once Michelangelo's onto the field, will pump it up a little bit more. But since it is a cast trigger, keep that in mind. The first time you cast a 2 CMC spell, it's only going to put a +1/+1 counter on the Ambitious Augmenter. Pop Hatch Recruit, fantastic 1-drop, fantastic 3-drop because it has Offspring. You guys are all familiar with this one, of course. I just mentioned Michelangelo Weirdness to 11. This thing is very powerful. It creates a mutagen token when it enters, and then if one or more counters will be put on a creature you control, put that many +1 counters instead. So later on, once we have the Ambitious Augmenter on the field, or let's say we put out a Badgermole Cub, or we have the next card, Dyadrine, on the field, all of those are going to be putting 2 counters on our creatures instead of 1. Now, Dyadrine, this is a card I've actually been dying to play. It has kind of gained quite a bit of popularity over the last couple of months. It showed up in a few tournament lists. Pros were doing well with this card, and it's time to finally try this one out. It is an X green and a white 0/1 with trample. Dyadrine enters with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana that was spent on it. So if we put it for X1, it's going to get +3/+3, right? Dyadrine enters with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. So yes, it'll get +3/+3 because we will have spent 3 mana to cast out this spell. So it's a fantastic mana dump. Had to make sure that's how it worked. Read it twice. Then whenever you attack, you may remove a +1/+1 counter from each of 2 creatures you control. If you do, draw a card and create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. So just some card draw, put some more stuff on the field, which will be good for Ouroboroid, of course. And then, well, it's just a strong card all on its own. This is one I'm a little bit unfamiliar with. It hasn't been in a lot of decks that I have played, but I'm finally excited to try it out myself. And then in this column, we have our win conditions. Ouroboroid, of course. Surrak, I guess kind of like a win condition. It's going to draw us a whole bunch of cards. It's a Trampler, 4/3. It could get very big with the Ouroboroid on the field. With it having trample natively, it's going to be a very good attacker. And then Practice Offense, one of the cards from Secrets of Strixhaven that has kind of been a breakout card, probably one of the cards that a lot of people didn't expect to be super powerful, but it turns out it's just a really good card, especially if you are going super wide with the Badgermole Cub strategy. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls, fantastic, and then target creature gains your choice of double strike or lifelink until the end of turn, and then it has flashback for 2, so it gets a little bit cheaper when it's in the graveyard. Pretty fantastic card. The first column, the one I ignored, is just a little bit of interaction. Erode, Bushwhack, we can fight or go get a land if we really need to, and Snakeskin Veil to protect some of our creatures. Over in the sideboard, because we are playing best of 3, we have a little bit of interaction with Seam Rip, a little bit more with Sheltered by Ghost, of course. Graveyard Hate with Rest in Peace, and a little bit more Graveyard Hate with the Keen-Eyed Curator. This one is more targeted towards landfall decks, I suppose, and then the Rest in Peace is more for the Lessons or Elementals matchups. Kutzel, kind of an unfamiliar card to some people. We'll bring it over here because some people probably are unfamiliar with it. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn, so it's going to be good against our control opponents. Then, whenever one or more creatures you control, each with power greater than its base power, deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. This is going to be really great for finding a whole bunch of cards because we're going to be putting a whole bunch of +1/+1 on our things, so we should be drawing a lot of cards with a Kutzel on the field. Leatherhead if we have to take care of some annoying artifacts or enchantments that are on the field. Also, it has hexproof, so it's pretty good against removal.deck. And 1 copy of Bossing Sage to bring in. We're only playing 1 in the main. I suppose that's also going to be good for our control matchups. So that is the deck. We're going to try it out on the ladder, see how it functions, and hopefully blow out some opponents with +1/+1 counter synergies. See you in the games. All right, game number 1. We're rocking the Fleam avatar today, along with the newly acquired, I guess we'll try this, goods from the Marvel set. I figured some of you might be a little bit curious to see what the, cosmetic bonus. I don't want to call them bonuses because they're not really bonuses. They're just, you're paying for them, right? So they're not bonuses. The things that you're going to be buying if you buy all the packages or bundles that they put out for the Marvel Superheroes set. So there is our Iron Man. And of course, we have the Iron Man thing over there. We'll talk about that in a second. I think I'm going to go out with Surrak because I don't have a follow-up 2 CMC thing for the Badgermole Cub. So we'll just put Surrak in the field. What does this do? I actually just equipped it. I'm kind of curious myself. Okay. I suppose the opponent is not doing a whole heck of a lot over there, so we'll try to jam this Badgermole Cub. If we get it onto the field, we can actually do practiced offense. Do I want to do the practiced offense? I say, why not, right? Let's try to pump up our Surrak. We'll try to give it double strike, I suppose, if it ends up surviving this turn. Even if it gets shot down here, we're at least drawing a card. So they're going to bounce it back to our hand. We do draw the Dyadrine. That's okay. So we still put +1/+1 counters on all of our things. We give double strike to nobody. And we move on to the next turn where we will have quite a bit of mana. We'll have 2, 4, 6, 7 mana to do some nasty things to our opponents with. 7 mana, I said. So let's say we do practice offense plus practice offense. How much am I actually going to be attacking with? I can have 2 double strikers. It's not 20 damage though, right? So it's probably just better to put the Ouroboroid onto the field and hope that the opponent doesn't have a board wipe for future things. That's the problem, right? We don't have anything that's going to leave behind bodies. So yeah, Ouroboroid, fine. You know what? I kind of want to do it this way. Let's put +1/+1 counters on things. Badgermole Cub get a little bit bigger. Double strike the Badgermole Cub. It's going to trigger the Ouroboroid, and we're going to attack in for 12 damage. I don't think I missed lethal there, but send it back over to the opponent. They're going to have upwards of 6 mana to cast some pretty nasty things, but I don't know if this deck is going to be playing a sweeper. And we do have practice offense number 2, so maybe we'll get them. I'm not really sure if this is just like the lessons deck. Oh man, that's good. I haven't been playing best of 3, so I forgot about the bugs. Okay, Leatherhead is going to be coming in because Leatherhead is going to have hexproof. It's going to be pretty good against some of the things that my opponent is doing. And honestly, I don't know, because I don't know if they're a lessons deck or not. I'm not really sure if I should be bringing in Graveyard Hate or not. I think probably the erodes are going to be pretty bad. Man, the bugs are so bad. So I'm going to just bring in 1 Leatherhead, 1 Keen-Eye Curator, and see a little bit more about the opponent's deck. I haven't played enough best of 3 to know exactly what the opponent's game plan is. I know there are a few decks that are playing Tablet of Discovery, so it could be any number of things. Opening hand looks good. The question's going to be now, do I want to just run out the Paw Patch Recruit, or do I want to save it to put it out with an Offspring? I think we're going to try Offspringing it. I kind of have a feeling that this could be like a Burst Lightning or something. If I just put the Paw Patch Recruit out by itself, it gets hit. We don't get any extra value out of it. I don't know how much I like that. So we'll just run out the Keen-Eyed Curator. If they got to work a little bit harder to get rid of this guy. It's a 3/3, so Burst Lightning doesn't necessarily work too well on it. And maybe we can get a little bit of information here from the opponent. Stock up. That's not a whole lot of information, is it? Okay, so definitely we're going to be attacking in and probably just putting the Paw Patch Recruit on the field, or is it putting the Dyadrine on the field for X1? Kind of like Paw Patch Recruit a little bit better. These get out there. If the opponent has some spot removal, maybe we can benefit from that. As long as they don't have like a fire magic, we should be okay. Tablet of Discovery, trying to dig for a land. They hit the land. So they probably play that out for value. They have 3 more mana at their disposal. What are they going to do with that mana, though? I'm a little disappointed, by the way, with this. There's only 1 animation. Surely they could have given us a few more animations for Tony Stark's briefcase. Right? Come on. They didn't use the mana, so does that mean that the opponent is going to be countering whatever I put out here? Kind of feels like it, right? So let's just attack for 6. I'm going to put out the Dyadrine. I'm going to hold up the Snakeskin Veil. Let's see. Dyadrine enters. It's a 3/4. It'd be really nice if they tried to remove that. Surveil 2. Okay, so they're going to load up a whole bunch of mana here. And maybe they're just going to go for the Paradigm card next turn. If they go for the Paradigm card, though, they're dead? Probably. We do have Ouroboroid plus Snakeskin Veil. So that can put a tremendous amount of power onto the board. 4 damage to each creature. So if I Snakeskin Veil right now, I keep my Dyadrine alive. I kind of have to try, right? Okay. Splatter technique. Pretty cool. And a Sleight of Hand to follow that up. So this deck is... Do they not have interaction, you think? They could have a bounce spell. But Practiced Offense comes through at the end with the Dyadrine. 12 damage. Let's go. I kind of wish I saw more of the opponent's deck because I really have no idea what they were trying to do over there. But yeah, that's cool. Dyadrine. Nice to see it actually popping off in game number 1. Maybe it's worth crafting. All right, let's see if we can keep doing that. More Ouroboroid nonsense. Man, I don't know. I know everybody's tired of Ouroboroid, tired of Badgermole Cub. Me too. But at the same time, ooh, look who showed up. All right, I kind of like them. Maybe I am a bad person. All right. Hello to the opponent. Love when people greet me. Good game to you. Blow them a kiss. Wow, very, very friendly opponent. Raban! Holy cow. The opponent is truly gaming over there. We'll animate the planes. If you're not familiar with Raban, Raban says you may pay life equal to Raban's power. That is his ward ability. They trade off that. Cool. And then whenever Raban attacks, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to a target attacking creature. Ultros, what is happening? Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, tap target creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 8 mana was spent to cast it, put 8 +1/+1 counters on Ultros. Oh, I'm tired after reading that. It's so many words. One quick little thing that happened there, just to make sure that we know what's going on. The Ambitious Augmenter says, when this creature dies, if it had 1 or more plus counters on it, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, then put that many counters on that token. So it had 1 on it. We got a counter on it. White Aurosite. They're going to take away my poor Ouroboroid, which is pretty good. All right, opponent, they're gaming over there. So I think probably what I'm going to just do is put out the... this is a little inefficient for mana tapping. It's fine. Would have been nice to get in with the planes, but whatever. We're going to load up the field because we got the Practiced Offense. So next turn, we can actually go Abandon Air Temple plus Practiced Offense and probably do some crazy stuff. They tap down my Surrak. Not a big deal. We get to draw a card with it. And the Regalia, the opponent is on a full Final Fantasy deck, and I appreciate this so much. Whenever the Regalia attacks, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest, whatever, somewhere. So they tap out to do that. Sure. Okay, we drew The Badgermole Cub. So how much mana? This thing now lost its ability, so it's just a 1/3, which is fine. So we can go Badgermole Cub. Animate this Hushwood Verge. Do I want to put that out? Probably not. So then I cast... No, I think I do, because I'm going to be tapping this for 3 mana. No, 2 mana, because I lost my boy. Okay. So let's just do this. Let's pump up the plains. I suppose we'll put Double Strike on that. And then we will do it one more time. Tapping down this one. And we'll put Double Strike over here. And this looks like a lot of damage to me, right? Did I put Double Strike on the... It doesn't matter. Oops. I lost track of what Badgermole Cubs were attacking and not attacking. So we were a little bit short. We missed out on 3 points of damage there, but we still had more than enough damage to run over the very cool Final Fantasy only deck. I have no idea what's going on, but I think probably Leatherhead has to come in. Do I also bring in the Seam Rip or maybe the Shelter by Ghost? If they're going to be using things like White Aura Sight, maybe the Shelter by Ghost is going to be pretty good. Ward 2 is great. We can remove something. I think that's probably a good way to go. Now, do I really want the Seam Rips? That I don't know. All right, so we'll bring in the Shelter by Ghost. We're going to go down the Erodes. I think removing things with the Shelter by Ghost is going to be good enough. We don't need to have so much. And then I'm going to go down 1 Dyadrine for the Leatherhead, I think. Yeah, we'll try like that. Okay, game number 2. So far, this green-white deck looks pretty good. So we go Llanowar Elf into Paw Patch Recruit and then pray that the top of our library treats us well. That never goes poorly for me, does it? Hello again. The opponent is a very friendly person. Why not? It's nice to see someone, using emotes in a nice way. So we now have a 0/2 Llanowar Elf. Cool. We have to wait a little bit on our Paw Patch Recruit. Dang. Okie dokie. While the Surrak is a good draw, I think probably I'm still going to not put out the Paw Patch Recruit. I suppose I could have. It's fine. So Surrak to the field can't be countered if that's what they were planning on doing. They are playing blue mana. We're not going to attack in with our 0/2 Llanowar Elf. They're not doing anything. That's interesting. Do they have board wipes? Jill. So Jill's going to bounce the Surrak, draw us a card. Ouroboroid, pretty good. Ambitious Augmenter, also pretty good. So put that out. Surrak to the field. Again, they can't do anything about that. They have something that they can do with 1 mana. So whether that's maybe like an Into the Floodmaw or unsummon. Okay. So they want to get rid of this poor Surrak, but they've refilled our hand. They've actually helped us draw 3 cards. Ral Crackling Wit. I don't remember which Final Fantasy game Ral the Otter showed up in. It's stupid. It's stupid to say, isn't it? So we have 5 mana. 5 mana is a little bit awkward. If we draw 6 mana, that we can go Paw Patch Recruit plus Surrak next turn. So maybe I just throw down the Ouroboroid. I pump up the Ambitious Augmenter. I pump up my Llanowar Elf. I could also just put out the Paw Patch Recruit as... You know what? Let's put out the Paw Patch Recruit as is, because then we can go Surrak plus Practice Offense. That's 6 mana as well. And let's send the Augmenter in at Ral. Give me that Otter. Hard to say. Does this opponent play board wipes? That's what I'm wondering. I could really see them playing something like an Aetherize or, I don't know, something Rebuke. Return all creatures or all permanents to their owner's hand, which I feel like is what's going to happen to me. But I guess what I do is, I mean, it's boring. Do I just go... I'm not doing the math here. Maybe I should do the math before I get ahead of myself, because I do get in trouble for not playing properly. I could just do practiced offense. Or I could do Ouroboroid. Which one's the safer way to go? I'm going to do Ouroboroids. Let's put them, force them to do something here. Dispelling Exhale. Sure. Countered. And then this triggers, boom. Let's go after the Crackling Wit, and we'll just send all of these face. I think I'm going to throw one more. I'm going to throw the Llanowar Elf at Ral, just to make sure the Ral dies. Sure. So this ended up making sense, but they're down to one card. I suppose like they could have put Jill and the... that's not going to be good enough, is it? So next turn we're just going to go... let's spread it out. Next turn we're just going to go practice offense, and that'll be it. Sure. Well, opponent, like I said, I do appreciate what you're doing. The deck is cool. I love the idea of going like Final Fantasy with all of your, like very heavily Final Fantasy with your theme. But I don't see how they survive this. They put the Jill in front of the Badgermole Cub, but even if they bounce the Paw Patch Recruit, they're still taking 18 points of damage from the Llanowar Elf, Augmenter, and Plains. Just so much damage going through. I cannot get over how impressed I have been with practice offense. Every time I get a chance to play it, it does crazy stuff. Man, these are pumping along. Those games were less than 20 minutes for the 2 best-of-3 matches. You do not experience that overly often. Okay, so we have our turn 1 Llanowar Elf. We are on the play. Then we go Paw Patch Recruit. I think we try this one. It would be nice, obviously, if we had the Badgermole Cub. Maybe the deck will treat us nicely and, you know, give it to us off the top. If it does, we can go out with the Dyadrine as well. So Badgermole Cub plus Dyadrine, X2, it becomes a 2/3. That's not bad. It doesn't happen, though. So, from here, is it Surrak or Paw Patch Recruit? I think it's Surrak. If the opponent wants to interact with my board, they can help me draw some cards. I desperately need to find some lands. So instead, they just have a Stormchaser's Talent and nothing. So, I guess we're going Ambitious Augmenter plus Dyadrine X0, which is still going to trigger the Ambitious Augmenter. So this is okay. And the opponent scoops it up. I want to read this one more time. I need to read exactly what this card says, because this card freaks me out. Okay. Whenever you attack, you may remove a +1/+1 counter from each of 2 creatures you control. So that means you have to remove at least 2 counters, right? A +1/+1 counter from each of 2 creatures you control. Okay. If you do, create the robot and draw a card, just to make sure. Okay. What is the opponent up to with this nonsense? Can I please? Okay. So they are... Is it probably going to be a Elementals type deck? That's the vibe I'm getting. So Rest in Peace, probably pretty good against this opponent. I don't necessarily like Erodes in this situation. I think if we can just make sure they don't get the Crab, right? It's a Crab. It's been so long since I played Elementals. Crab or the Illuge on the field, then they're probably never going to get down the Sunderflock. So we'll just keep the Rest in Peace, assuming that this is an opponent that is playing Lessons. Surrak is probably going to be pretty good against them, but do I really want to have 4 Surrak? 4 Surraks is a lot of Surrak, so I'm going to drop down 1 Surrak here. No, we're going to... Practice Offense loses a little bit of value here because it is now going to be exiled from our graveyard. So does that mean I want to keep more of them in my hand because I won't be able to flash them back? So maybe I shouldn't be removing them from the deck? I don't know. Surrak, if this opponent is a Lessons deck, they're probably going to have a lot of like Combustion Technique and maybe things like Burst Lightning in that. So I assume that I probably want to have as many Surraks as I can. There's the Rest in Peace. Well, let's see if I was right about my call here, and we'll go with the Ambitious Augmenter. So our curve looks pretty good. Augmenter, then Rest in Peace, then Paw Patch Recruit, Offspringed. And the opponent has nothing. Okay. So we get to attack with the 2/2. We get to make sure that there are no more graveyards for the rest of this game. Ooh, well played. You see Tony over there? Tony's talking to me. He's talking to me. It's like he's my friend. Does this... I actually don't know. It should trigger the increment. Yes. Because it's the amount of mana that is spent, not necessarily the cost of the card. So we now have a 3/3 Ambitious Augmenter, which will turn into a 2/2 Fractal if it gets removed. Is it when it dies? Okay. So if they exile it, we don't get that. Okay. So Ambitious Augmenter, also a little bit of a non-bow with Rest in Peace then. Slagstorm, by the way. Slagstorm. Woo, baby. Okay. Show me less board wipes. Show me more spot removal, please. UED, the Weekly Warrior. Okay. Storm Chaser's Talent, going to be good, but they don't get any extra value from leveling it up. But they do get value from bouncing it back. We need to make sure we don't find any more lands off the top of our library. Please? Deck, please? Give me some big things. Okay. That is big enough. So, do you suspect the opponent has a way of pumping up these 1/1 otters? I feel like they probably do, and it kind of sucks because the Ambitious Augmenter is not going to leave behind a Fractal because I put out the Rest in Peace. Is this cowardly not to attack, though? I think I'd rather try to get the Ambitious Augmenter up. I don't want to trade one otter for that. A Violent Outburst. Okay. Let's do that. So we get to draw a card. At the very least. Paw Patch Recruit is okay as long as the opponent doesn't have another Slagstorm. Low state. Draw some cards, but they don't get full value. So I think the Rest in Peace is probably pretty good in this. Maybe I got to think maybe about the Ambitious Augmenters here. But they are down to 2 cards. Coming in with Slicky. Get that 1 damage. Why not? Practiced Offense is pretty good. Is it going to be better next turn? I think so. So let's do Paw Patch. They do have something. And they say no more. They must have been holding on to a bunch of spot removal. Practiced Offense, though, not going to be able to punch through with... I guess we do have Trample with Paw Patch Recruit. I was going to say the Ambitious Augmenter might have a hard time getting in. But Double Strike on Paw Patch is going to be pretty good. These are going fast. Usually, after 3 games, I'm really debating if I want to do the 4th match or game, whatever you want to call it. I always screw that up. 4th match. Yes. I always debate whether or not I want to do that. But this time around, like, I might be able to squeeze in 5 the way things are kind of looking. So let's go with the Llanowar Elf. My goodness. Why is everybody so friendly today? All right. You get an Oko Kiss. The opponent on Salt High over there with a Mosswood Dread Knight. Love, love, love that card. Unfortunately, our deck is not really showing us good cards here. So I am going to attack in with the Llanowar Elf. And I am going to pay the 1 life with the starting town. I think it's fine to spend 1 life just to make sure that this comes in untapped. And then these other 3 lands are all going to be coming in untapped for the rest of the game. But we do need to find just about anything off the top of our library. Okay. Oh, no. So you all know what that means, right? That card right there means we're going to get hit with the Withering whatever, which is bad news. I don't want to get hit with the Withering Curse or whatever because it's going to destroy all of our stuff. I have to expect they're going to be doing that this turn. But what choice do I really have to... Okay. Okay, so they have... Well, they could have 3 mana still. They gain a little bit of life with the 2nd Cornucopia. It's a tap land. Mosswood Dread Knight. So we have a chance here to draw something big, and we don't draw anything. So Bushwhack looks okay. I can bushwhack something. Or I could just use the Abandoned Air Temple to pump up these 3 things and go in. And I kind of like that better. Sure. They can't kill my Surrak. They can trade with one of the Ambitious Augmenters. But we're going to get 8 damage in. We have the Badgermole Cub as backup. And even if they wipe the board, it's going to leave behind 2/2 Ambitious Augmenter Fractal. Maybe? Oh, that's desperate. That's desperate right there. They could still definitely have Withering something. I hope they play it because I'm forgetting what the name of it is. It's not Withering Curse, is it? Actually, I'd rather they don't. I would rather go to a website and search it up later on than to get hit by it right now. I'd really okay, whoa. Why did the opponent just pass? Are they going to turn on the Restless Cottage? Is that what their plan is? Like Restless Cottage block, but no, they don't have enough mana for that. Okay. I mean, that's actually pretty good. They're going to gain a lot of life from this familiar, and they put the familiar in front of they gained 9 life from this one card. What a that's cool. Cornucopia plus Fangkeeper. So where do you put this? You put this in front of one of the 2/2s? Yeah. It's fine. Okay. We'll stick to the plan of pumping up the group. And same thing, they're down to 4. Augmenter is going to leave behind a 3/3. We have the Badgermole Cub. We have the Abandoned Air Temple. I mean, I feel like I'm doing kind of all that I can do here. If they have the board, like this, Cornucopia is going to gain them so much life. If they have the board wipe, it's going to be great for them. Fangkeeper's familiar. Another one of those would be real swell for the opponent, though. Thankfully, its body wasn't that big. Mossy. They only gain 1 life, but they could be sandbagging another flash creature. No, okay. So this is fight. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. It's a little bit risky because they do still have 3 open mana. What do I think they have something here? Do I think they have a way of stopping this? So who do I fight? I think I fight the Scheming Silver Tongue. It's fine. It'll at least cut them off from their Sign in Blood later on. Okay. And we can still pump. So let's go. Let's get frisky. What do you got for me, opponent? Glen Elendra. Gaining a little bit more life. I mean, this is a cool deck from the opponent. I don't really know how to react to it. That's fine. And that's fine. So we're going to keep our creatures. And we're also going to get 7 points of damage in on the opponent. Their Mosswood Dread Knight can be cast again, but it's going to cost them 1 life. They want to do the Dread Whispers. They'll lose a life, but they have the chance to do it this turn. And now with the opponent at 2 life, we're going to have the Ambitious Augmenter as a 4/4. They're going to, of course, gain a little bit of life here. And we have the Badgermole Cub again. I keep saying that, but, you know, we have our options. All right. We take it down. What a grindy match from the opponent with the... Hey, Ancient Cornucopia is a very real card. You can gain so much life from that card. So I don't know what to really expect here. I feel like Leatherhead, again, might be pretty good. I also feel like the Cutzels might actually force the opponent into acting a little bit differently. They're going to have more flash stuff. They're probably going to have some removal in that. Putting out the Cutzel could just force them to do things at awkward times. So I kind of like that card. I don't think I want to be giving my opponents lands. So we're going to be cutting the Erodes. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to be the aggressor in this matchup. And the opponent is going to have to try to chump block our stuff again. I think we're going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't necessarily need to worry about removal. Taking out one of the Ouroboroids is maybe a little bit crazy, but Leatherhead, 4 CMC, switch out a 4 CMC one. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense. And opening hand, looks fine. I think the Paw Patch Recruit probably is pretty good in this matchup because of how much spot removal they have. What's with everybody being the same double hellos? Again, I don't expect this kind of behavior from Magic players. Paw Patch Recruit? Am I going to get board wiped though? Sure, why not? Show me a board wipe. We're not going to play too hard to the field, I suppose. Maybe I should have put out the Ambitious Augmenter, but it's fine. This thing, I'm impressed with it. Leaving behind the fractals. Withering Curse was the answer. Withering Curse. So, yeah. Yeah? Sure. Hey, Zero. Surely they don't have another Withering Curse. And they got to do that one just -2/-2, right? They didn't need the infusion. If we are able to attack in with the Dyadrine, we are going to be able to remove the counters, I guess. Oh, the opponent went into their backpack and they found, I should put up the Temple Garden. They found, whatever, sure. They found every single board wipe that they ever opened from any packs, and they're just like, jam it in the 60. We got these board wipes. This is a creature-based strategy. We are donezo. I'm not gonna sit through this one. So we finally drop a game. All it took was an opponent having 3 board wipes. What are we gonna do about that? You know what, Bossing Say. Let's bring in Bossing Say. We'll go down 1. Abandoned Air Temple. Bossing Say might be necessary. Maybe we need to make some creature lands. Sure. I mean, if they just have Withering Curse, Day of Black Sun in their opening hand one more time, okay. They brought what they needed to make sure that I can't play the game. So, let's give the opponent the old wink. I don't have a wink, do I? No. I thought I had a wink. This time around, let's go with Dyadrine or Cutzel. So Dyadrine means that next turn I can put out the Cutzel and I can start drawing cards because the Dyadrine will be a bigger creature than its original toughness. So we get to draw 1 card with that. Sure. It feels like we're about to get badly damaged here, but I suppose this is fine. Again, we're drawing cards. The opponent needs to do things on their turn. They don't have the Cornucopia this time around. We'll see. Ancient Cornucopia. So, I guess I have to assume that the opponent is probably going to... The opponent's probably going to hit me with a Withering Curse next turn. Because of that... Okay, let's remove the counters here and here. That's fine. We'll make a 2/2, draw a card. We're going to draw 2 more cards. So at least once a turn, whenever 1 or more creatures. Sorry, it's not each creature. So here comes Withering Curse. We need to recover from the Withering Curse. But they are down to 9. If they don't have the Withering Curse here, they're in big trouble. And they're kind of looking at our board like they might not actually have that. If they pass the turn, Cutzel means that they can't do anything on our turn. But they have the Day of Black Sun for X3. Opponent, I kind of don't like you. We're going to go get a forest. It's kind of free. I'm not using that to attack anybody. And... Is it just... I don't like Ouroboroid. Is it just Llanowar Elves plus Cutzel then? Yeah. Sure. Let's hope they don't have another Day of Black Sun or a Withering Curse. And maybe, just maybe, we can get this last little bit of damage in. But I have a feeling this is a hard matchup. Rand, Al, Thor. This is their game. This is what they wanted to find, was an opponent like us that's playing what we're playing. Okay, Michelangelo. We get to do this. And we get to at least make a 2/2. And I'm not going to put out anything more. I'm going to say, like, hey, have another board wipe. Surely they can't have, like, they had 3 in the last game. They have 3 this game. You know, I thought you were kind of cool, but you're boring. I don't know. Maybe I'm just salty because it's working so well against me, but that's, all right. Surely they are out of board wipes now. It must be the case. Does it matter what I animate? I don't know. Okay. It would have been real nice to have those augmenters. I'll tell you that much. YOLO? YOLO. If they have the 4th board wipe, they have the 4th board wipe. I think them playing the scheming Silver Tongue kind of is them saying, hey, I'm out of board wipes. Surely. I don't want to look, man. It's so disheartening when they have so many like that. Ooh, they play the Glenalendra now. Interesting. So what does this say? Remove a counter from this creature. Counter target non-creature spell. Its controller draws a card. That's fine. Are they going to sign in blood? They're signing in blood. So they have access to 3 mana. We have an Ouroboroid coming down the pipeline with a mutagen token available to put on it. Okay. Gut check time, boys. What do? Boom, boom. Badgermole Cub, make a forest. Tap one of the forests in the remaining forest to put down the Ouroboroid and just go ham. Just go ham. They have something. What do you have that's going to absolutely ruin my day? It's got to be, they got to have, I mean, they could have any number of things, Withering Curse or whatever. Putting +1, putting the mutagen on the Ouroboroid, is it worth it? Or is it better for me just to get in? No, it's probably worth it. It's wasting so much mana, but I think it's fine. Do they have the removal for the Ouroboroid as well, though? Maybe not. Okay. Okay. Trigger happens. Boom, boom. Let's go for it. Let's crash in. Glenalendra number 2 to gain a little bit of life. This is legendary, right? Sure. Oh, Glenalendra's Guardian. I always thought this was just Glenalendra. Why isn't that just Glenalendra? All right. Here comes the disaster. The absolute hosing. We're all in on this board. How many? We have 2 creature lands. So if we do get board wiped here, we will return 2 lands to the battlefield. We can use the Bossing Say to Earthbend 2, but that's not 5, notably. This is so stressful. Oh, come on. It's so tired, man. Hate it. It's just, it lines up so well against us. That's all it is. All right. I don't know what it's tapping. Sure. There. We draw a land. We're going for it. We got to keep getting in for damage. They're down to 2 cards. We're down to 0 cards, but we have the Abandoned Air Temple. We have Bossing Say to start loading up the field, but they do have the Restless Cottage sitting there. So I do have to be aware of them loading up a 4/4. I can't get around a 4/4. I don't know. I don't even know what miracle. I don't think there's any hope here. Unless they draw, even if they draw land, it's going to be a little bit tough to get that last 4 points of damage in on them. Deadly Cover Up. Deadly Cover Up. They drew so many. That's the 5th board wipe. Give me a break. Come on. Come on, man. Okay, they get rid of my Ouroboroids, which is fine, I guess. Notably, they do have the mana to turn on the Restless Cottage with the They turn it on. Man, this opponent is saying, let's attack. Although this makes food. Yeah, why not? I can only do a limited amount of damage. I think it's fine. This is okay, I think. Let's put that on the field. What it means is I can't attack in with the Earthbent land this turn, but I am making a 3/3, not a 2/2. So it's going to be a little bit more potent. I think it's probably better to do it that way. Surely, Rand al'Thor, the god, didn't draw more. They drew an Assassin's Trophy. Assassin's Trophy is pretty good. Take action. We go get a land. So, they do have Restless Cottage. They have 10 life. They're attacking with the Restless Cottage. Okay. They can crack one of their food. So they are still just at 10. We go down to 8. That's fine. I can still use Abandoned Air Temple plus, not plus the mutagen. I can only use the Abandoned Air Temple or the mutagen depending if I draw a land or not next turn. So we have to assume, yeah, draw land. Okay, I'm gonna take my lumps here. I'm gonna take a little bit more damage, and we get in for 8. We take them down to 2, but we're still at 8. If they draw a land here, draw something dead. Come on, they've drawn so well. They're gonna be at +6, 8 life. We do not have trample, notably. So they're keeping the Restless Cottage back as a chump blocker. Restless Cottage has Death Touch. It's just a 4/4 black and green horror creature token. It does not have Death Touch. Oh, stress, man, stress. So do I put out the Ambitious Augmenter? I think the answer is yes. And we just abandon Air Temple. Okay. Yep. Let's go. They load up the Restless Cottage. We knew that was going to happen. They put the Restless Cottage probably in front of the Temple Garden. But unless they drew removal from Michelangelo, this is not enough to keep them alive. We're going to go up to 5 damage on Michelangelo. They're going to be at 5 life. Do they have a spell? If they have a spell, their Ancient Cornucopia gains them 1 life. Oh my god, that was the closest game I've had in such a long time. I meant to hit good game. That's where my good game is, not the O-face. But it was a pretty O-face moment. Holy cow. What a way to end it. 4 in a row. Pretty good. Hey, Rand al'Thor. Come on. What is this? What are you doing? Man, they must have brought in so much board wipe, so many board wipes from their sideboard. Holy cow. But we fought through it. Creature lands. All right, what a performance from the green-white counters, Selesnya counters, whatever you want to call it. This deck is awesome, and I actually had a blast playing it. Some of the games, we obviously just like ran over the opponents. Some of the games, the last one, were real grind fest, but this deck definitely has some things that work well. Now, one thing in the sideboard that I need to actually kind of think about a little bit more is the Rest in Peace, because the Rest in Peace has 2 weird nombos in the deck with the Ambitious Augmenter and the Practiced Offense. I don't know if it's just that you take out the Ambitious Augmenters when you bring in Rest in Peace or take out Practiced Offense. I'm not sure. Like, Practiced Offense is still like such an insanely good card that you kind of want to be able to cast it at least once. So yes, the flashback is good, but if you have the Rest in Peace, so it's not going in the graveyard, you lose your access to the flashback. So maybe you just want to have all 4 of them in the deck so you can draw them and play them for 3. Is that the logic there? I don't know. And then the Ambitious Augmenter not being able to turn into a fractal is a huge downside to that card. So I'm really actually not sure. Like, Rest in Peace is such a great card against elementals and against Lessons decks, but maybe it's not the right fit for this deck. Maybe what we should be doing is the Ooze. Of course. maybe the Ooze is a better card. It has +1/+1 synergies. In fact, its ability to leave mutagens on the field when one of our creatures with +1/+1 counters dies is a huge thing. In fact, not dies, leaves the battlefield. It's even better than that, because if it gets exiled, it still works. So I kind of feel like I want to experiment maybe with the Ooze instead of Rest in Peace in the sideboard. I understand that it's great and you get that sweeping graveyard exile effect, whereas with the Ooze, you're doing it one at a time, and that's so slow. So a Lessons deck is probably still going to be able to put enough Lessons in the graveyard to be able to draw a whole bunch of cards, or the Elementals decks are probably going to be able to put enough instances into the graveyard suddenly to be able to put out a Crab. So I don't know. It's weird. I have to maybe play this deck a little bit more and experiment with things. Also, I'm not really sure how I feel about Erode. We didn't need it because we are such an proactive deck, so aggressive, and because we have that approach to our game plan, I understand the Erode in here is just to clear the way of anything so that we can get in, but I was sideboarding it out. Maybe it's just these matchups. Again, it's another card that I'm not really sure about. Let me know. Erode is obviously fantastic in the landfall decks, but it's because you use the Erode offensively and defensively. Whereas in this case, I think we're only using it to clear the way. We're only using it on our opponent's creatures, not on our creatures, which is what the landfall deck does, which is so strange to say, but that's what that deck does. And that's why it's so good. I feel like maybe just having Seam Rips in the main board might be better. I don't know. Anyways, the deck feels so good. Who would have thought that a Badgermole Cub or a Ouroboroid deck with practice offense would have been good? Everybody. The answer's literally everybody. Everybody knew that this was going to be a good deck, and it's going to continue to be a good deck. So if you want to climb the ladder, if you have some of these cards, they're basically all rares. So, you know, that's not a rare, not a rare, not a rare. There you go. Rares and mythics. Have fun playing Magic in 2025 in Standard. Isn't that great? That's a discussion for another time, right? Anyways, hope you enjoyed this one. Take care for now. Enjoy your weekends. Sarang Ipna, and I will catch all of you in the next one. Bye-bye.